Hi, I'm Robert, founder of DevGuard, the open source enterprise single sign-on and VPN platform. Today, I will be discussing what is DevGuard, why are we building it, and I will be using a demo instance, which you can find a video and a tutorial about that in our documentation and in our README. I will be using that demo instance to showcase it to you. But before we start, I want to briefly touch why are we building DevGuard and what it actually is, because it is a single sign-on and a VPN, but it is more than that. It's a security platform for building the fundamentals of your organization or your home or whatever, however you like to use it. A security foundation for most important and most critical fundamentals of your security. So what does it mean, the fundamentals of security? So and why are we building DevGuard? DevGuard is built because there are a lot of corporate enterprise, not open source, security solutions that are proprietary, very expensive, and as an open source enthusiast and an advocate, and and also as a security and let's say IT professional, I was really longing for a really cool open source security platform that has a great UI, easy to use for administrators, but also for the users. So it's interconnected. The only thing that right now I can think of, which is, let's say, similarly easy, is actually Microsoft deployments with Active Directory and so on. So, but DevGuard is completely open source, built with open protocols, open standards, and it's really easy to use, exactly the same. It's not that right now sophisticated because we're beginning with the project, but it's enough to build really good, secure fundamentals for your organization. And I always were dreaming that we could have an open source alternative for all of those components, so that the application, the security platform will incorporate all the necessary components to be secure. All meaning an identity, because everything starts with users. So you need to have your identity service, then a single sign-on, so because those users need to log in using this identity into various applications that you deploy in your setup. And then if you have an identity and SSO and those applications like a knowledge-based chat system, file system and file server, whatever you like to have, and you secure that either by building your network, or you can build it in the cloud, but you manage this and you don't trust with your data any third party companies, then you need to access those services, those applications remotely, very securely. So that's why you need, for example, a VPN service. So all of that and more, which I will showcase right now, is DevGuard, because deploying this one binary, it's written in Rust to be very secure and very fast, and it can be deployed on really small hardware, but the UI is really nice, because we here in Tionite are loving good design. So it's really nice both for the user and the administrator. And I will in a minute switch to the demo instance to showcase that. So if you deploy DevGuard, you have all the components to manage your users. The users can secure themselves with multi-factor authentication. They use DevGuard to log in to the services you deploy, and then to securely access them using a VPN with our desktop client. Right now, desktop, we are developing the mobile client. so that you have all the things important in your organization. So let's showcase that on the demo instance. So the first thing when you log into the demo instance, you see that we have a location which is called demo. Maybe I will show this on the screen better. The demo instance and one gateway connected, but you can easily add any new locations like new offices, new let's say cities, new or maybe management VPNs for your network, for your admins. All those VPN locations are secured by groups, so you can have users assigned to groups, and any VPN location can be limited to any number of groups. You can use typical WireGuard vanilla protocol for connecting to that location, or you can require multi-factor authentication, and multi-factor meaning using our desktop client, which supports this multi-factor authentication and very sophisticated method of exchanging pre-shared WireGuard keys and configuring our gateways and so on to secure even more this VPN setup. If you want to deploy any location, you can use this simple Docker command to deploy our gateway server, or you can use packages or any other forms of deploying our gateway server, which is just a wrapper for WireGuard, communicates with WireGuard kernel. And that's the first thing you see, the VPN overview. I have one connected user. This is me, which I've set up recently in this demo instance, and you can see all the activity. You can see my devices, and I have one device which is called MacBook. I've named it this way, and I'm connected to this VPN instance. So administrators really easily can see the whole overview of the network here. You have your users, and this is a great thing about DevGuard, that it's not a typical, let's say, identity or an SSO. We have solved much more problems that are facing organizations or users. For example, if I create this user, how should I share the password to access all those services? Well, those services are behind firewall. So if they are behind firewall and they are accessible only through the VPN service, how can I give them access to that? Because they need to have a VPN configured. DevGuard solves it all. So I can showcase it to you in a second as well. So let's right now disconnect from this instance, this DevGuard demo instance, and I will remove this instance so I can have a clean slate, and my desktop client is right now not configured, and I will add a new user. Let's call this user Robert, and I will use this secure enrollment process, which I will explain in a second and show you what it's all about. But this is the main power of DevGuard. As you see, if I use the enrollment process, you cannot set the password, because during the enrollment process, the user will set up its own password securely. My email is here and my name is Robert. I will not set up my phone, and I will add this user. I have not configured for this demo instance email, the SMTP configuration, so I cannot send this token over the email. But generally, if you have that configured, you could click here and send the enrollment information to the user securely, even to hers private email, because the token and the secure URL is only valid 24 hours, and when accessing the token is only valid for the number of minutes you configure default, let's say 10 minutes for this instance, and the user can securely, using our proxy service, which is stateless, very secure, configure their own desktop client, or use the web to configure their password and configure other WireGuard clients securely. But I have not configured the SMTP service, so I will deliver the token myself So I'm starting the enrollment service, and the only thing a user needs to do, either they receive the email, so they can just click with for the enrollment service, or in the email there will be information: download DevGuard desktop client and just enter these two things, the enrollment URL and the token, and everything will be done from then. So let's assume I'm a user that is assigned to your organization, a new user coming on board, and it's he or she is even remote, and then they get the message that they can configure their access to your network. So they open up the DevGuard client, enter the URL, your DevGuard instance enrollment service URL. They enter the token, and what happens is that we see that we have added Robert, and so it says, "Hi, Robert. You will configure these things." It's all done in the desktop client. It's also available from the web, but the desktop client has this advantage that it will also configure itself with all the VPN locations. It states what's the admin who has added you to this instance. That's the default DevGuard admin with, let's say, the email. And if you configure your instance and add to your account, your admin account, proper email and a proper telephone number, it will display it. It will be displayed here also as well for the user. And the user, with 9 minutes left, can configure securely their password, their data, configure this desktop client, and actually have access through the VPN with their login and password to all your services that are behind the firewall and not available to any other users on the internet. So let's go and, let's say, set up my phone number, and it's here you can double check your data, and then let's set up my password, and then as I'm using the desktop client, it automatically detects that and states, okay, just name the device that you are configuring. So let's say screencast, and configure this device, and that's it. My device is configured. If I go to DevGuard here and I will go to Robert, I can actually see that I have filled this telephone number and I have added the screencast device. It has never been connected, so the demo VPN location has never been connected, and then I have assigned IP address to that client, but there are no information about that. And what you can see here as well is, let's say, onboarding message, which you can configure yourself in DevGuard. So the enrollment service has this possibility to define any template with a lot of keywords like admin first name, phone, mobile, and so on and so on. And you can type your security policies here, corporate systems, links, even if those systems are available only in the intranet, only through the VPN service. That's not a problem, because using this desktop client, they can actually get to those services, and whatever onboarding, politics, knowledge bases, and so on and so on. This is the message that they should see here after finishing the enrollment process. But also, you can state that the same message should be sent over the email, or uncheck that and different message sent to them with a welcome email. That is great, because a lot of people struggle to find any relevant information about the organization, what's the knowledge base, what are the telephone numbers for the whatever HR or admins, and so on and so on. So we figured out this problem, and you can securely enroll and create the account for the user, and then onboard them however you like. So I have finished that, and I have this this DevGuard instance right now. I have not connected and so on. So the user can just right now connect to the VPN and have access to those systems and so on. And what is also unique about DevGuard, the WireGuard desktop client has a unique feature where you can define if you want to also only access the predefined VPN traffic that your admin has configured for you, or you can choose all traffic. So your users can be secured, and even if they are in public internet cafes or whatever public places, with one switch they can change that all traffic from my whatever computer should go through the VPN, this VPN instance, and secure me as a user. So and then I can hit connect, and then I can see the everything starting. There's the green indication that the VPN connection has started, and if we go, we can then in a minute see that a user will be connected. And this is not my profile, so I need to go to Robert's profile to see the details about the connection. So there's that. I have a VPN. Here it is. Here am I. Here I am. Robert is connected from the screencast device, and I will see the whole statistics. If your users will have a lot more VPN devices, like MacBook, iPhone, tablet, and whatever, here you will see all the device details, all their statistics, and so on, which is also quite unique. And as you see, in the last 1 hour, 2 users were connected. One is the default admin, which I used for setting up this demo instance, and the second one here is Robert, which I created in a second. So what are the other modules of DevGuard? So here's the VPN, the identity, the groups that you can manage. OpenID apps, I already mentioned. So you can use DevGuard right now to configure like Matrix, knowledge bases, Synology, Grafana, or any other whatever system you like to deploy in your network to log in with DevGuard. And there will be the same consent as in Google. So you log into DevGuard, do the user password. If you have a multi-factor authentication, authenticate, and then DevGuard will ask, can I share this data with this application? And then you log into the application. But what is also unique, if you want to integrate other services, you can use webhooks. So you can just add a URL and what data should be shared, like when a new user is connected, or the user is modified, or user is deleted, or if a user provisions a YubiKey security hardware key, all this data can be then shared with the webhook for easy integrations. We also have a full API, because DevGuard has a full API which you can use, which is also very unique. And another great feature of DevGuard is a YubiKey provisioning station. YubiKey hardware keys, there are various other hardware keys, but we have started with YubiKey because it's the most common and most, let's say, widely used security hardware key. If you ever tried to set up a YubiKey hardware key, it's really, really tough for any typical user, even an IT user, how to do all of that, how to generate with GPG the master keys, and then the SSH keys, and then the signing keys for all GPG, PGP, and so on and so on. So we also have figured that out and made what is called a YubiKey provisioning station, which means DevGuard runs on your server, like a VPS, bare metal, in your data center, whatever, in your home lab. But in order to provision a YubiKey, you need to have access to the USB port. So because YubiKey is on a USB. So by just running this Docker command, which is downloading the YubiKey provisioning tool and then automatically assigning the tokens, and then you just need to change this worker name to the name you like to see here in the provisioners list, and then DevGuard gRPC URL. So gRPC URL is in the documentation. What's the URL when you set up it? You can have a provisioning station, like whatever, Raspberry Pi Wi-Fi, a dedicated computer on your desk, or maybe in your organization, a computer in the HR and so on, that if you want to assign a security key to your users, just set up the YubiKey provisioning station, and then when you want to provision a YubiKey for a user, then you just hit connect, add YubiKey, and we have no provisioning stations here. So if you do that, then you will have provisioning stations here, and you can just choose it, plug in the USB with YubiKey, and click provision YubiKey, and all the data that are here in the user's profile will be populated on that key, and security and the GPG and SSH private keys will be generated, also downloaded here to defguard to in the user profile. So that's another unique feature. And why we are using that? Because we are securing all the services with multi-factor authentication using hardware keys. So if you go to your user's profile, and you can edit the profile and configure security keys as a two-factor, multi-factor authentication, you can manage the security keys and just name the key, plug the key in, and then configure to log in with that key to defguard or to other services. So that's why we use it. Also, we use, when developing defguard, we have our, let's say we use Git services and so on. So all of our developers code sign the code, sign with the GPG keys that are stored in the YubiKeys, and this is populated through APIs, webhooks to the Git instances and so on. But there are various other scenarios that you can use that for. So we've covered the VPN, users, groups, OpenIDs, webhooks, and YubiKeys, and the enrollment messages and so on. Here's the profile. And right now, also you can go to settings, and if you have an LDAP instance, for example, or because you need radius for enterprise Wi-Fi, so you need an LDAP. LDAP is the go-to spot for, let's say, setting up a radius server and then connecting to that radius server any enterprise Wi-Fi's, or maybe authorization for the Ethernet ports, or any other type of authorization. You can configure your LDAP instance here, and right now it only works one way, so defguard populates that LDAP instance. And right now we do not support groups population, but it will come soon. You can configure your LDAP server and the SMTP for information that is sent by defguard and so on and so on. So as you see, it's really a security platform with security in mind, and there are other use cases to use. Like, for example, users can go to their profile and add SSH and GPG keys, not only YubiKeys, but typically when I even open my terminal and see SSH at show my public key, this is my public key, I can copy this public key and state this is my MacBook key, add the key here, so I have this here. And then if you go to our documentation, there's SSH authentication, and here is an example how a YubiKey is provisioned, so with serial number and the keys from YubiKey. And you can set up really easily SSH on your servers using defguard, using groups, using the keys that are stored by users in their defguard profile. So there are various use cases, and this is, yes, an SSO and a VPN platform, but as you see, with all the features like secure enrollment, secure onboarding, provisioning YubiKeys, and then adding possibility to log in or manage SSH keys, GPG keys, webhooks, API, and so on. This is a one-stop shop for securing your organization, and users can secure their multi-factor authentication for the VPN and for logging in with various ways. We are constantly developing and expanding a defguard with features, and there's a growing community which we warmly welcome you to join on our Matrix channel, on our support chat or general chat, and then on GitHub with all the issues that are, let's say, a lot of issues is gathered by the community of what should be next for DevGuard and what should be next for this whole security platform. So we put a lot of effort, and let's say I have put my 20 plus years of experience in security and enterprise, how to make this as easy as possible, as good looking as possible, and with features packed so that you can secure your organization and your setup very quickly, very easy, and also very securely. Because as you will see, DevGuard is designed with high security in mind. So even if the core service is communicating with the proxy service, the communication is, let's say, reversed. So the core is connecting to the proxy service, so that on your firewalls, you will not have to open from the demilitarized zone access to the internal network. So a lot of aspects and a lot of thought and a lot of effort has been put into DevGuard. And I hope you like it. I hope you will use it. And I hope you will join our community and get passionate about it, because we really are. And yeah. That's it. That's about it. And I'm waiting for you on our support channels and general conversation channels, and hope you will join us. So see you. Bye bye.